my fellow programming engineers, welcome back once more to this drives course. And we're going to continue where we dropped off our last class, which was opening our software connected components workbench, or CCW as the free software is known. Now, what can we see and visualize here? We have many options. We have the capacity of creating an easy logic, and since it's free, to load it onto a PLC, Micro 800. Or we could also create here, in some screens, freely, to our HMIs for panel view 800. Now, this is all very simple, free actually, but the cherry on top is actually that we can, by using this software, configure our drive through communication. Okay? Now, what are we going to be able to see here? We have our communication part. We can connect our drivers. We can create a new project, open an existing one. Now, I don't have a created project, okay? I have none. So therefore, if it is something new, my preferred option is, once we have located our path for my PowerFlex, which is the one that we had configured previously, this is all about indicating, because I want to discover through my drive part, or the drivers, I would like to identify the way towards my PowerFlex 525. And I would like to pull all the information that this drive has. Pull, which means I'm going to load all configuration from my CCW project. Okay, now you're going to tell me, well, we don't have much loaded, Rodrigo. Doesn't matter. Even though we have something completely new, we're going to do this the easiest way to do this. Okay? So we're going to select this. We're going to select our way, our path, and we're going to start this. So first off, I'd like to take the time to show you our module connections, which I already made the changes to my submask, which everything's ecstatic. And I had to shut down. So I had to shut down and power them on, my drive. Okay? Now this is already loaded. So we already have here my project with my PowerFlex 525. And the software calls it PowerFlex 525 underscore 1. So it's already giving me here my IP address. It's telling me if I have anything connected, which I don't. And it's giving me my software revision number, which in this case, remember that each electronic device has a different firmware version. This is the firmware 5.001 version. Now, what else do we have here? We have our voltage for my drive, which is 460 volts, 1 horsepower, 3 phases. Okay, so drive definition. So let's see what all of this means. So this is only to be able to change our options, or actually to identify them. So here, in case we have anything connected here on our peripherals, which we have nothing, this is a quick view actually. We have our data logger, which we probably wouldn't have anything. Okay, so it's a pretty simple and quick configuration setup for our passwords. But I'd like you guys to notice something. All parameters, all existing parameters at least, are all here. This has 731 parameters. Okay? Now, here, if we go to our manual, if we go back to our manual, do you remember the files that we had? Let's see, we have these on top. Or actually, lower, more on the bottom. We already went over. So here we go. Files. Where are these files? Let's look for them from the index. So let's go to our parameters list. These famous files. Basic display. So we go back, and here, wherever we selected them, these are already going to be deployed for our options. Okay? So this is communication already. Through a software, which in this case is CCW, we are going to be able to run setup. But this is a data log. This is a kind of history. But I wanted everyone to see this so that you know how it appeared. But the right way is to run this option, parameters. This is overview. This is let's say, the faceplate of everything. Okay, the main characteristics, IP addresses, firmware, PowerFlex 525 characteristics. But what's truly important are the parameters. And here we also have assigned our parameters by file groups that we have here, which is basic program. If you remember this is where we entered all parameters. Okay. And we get all these parameters, which were the ones that we had already set up, if you remember correctly, on our previous exercises at least. This was done directly through our file. And we already have them ID'd, which is, our software is very smart. What else now? What else do we have here? All parameters that we want to activate, for example, here we have 3-wire. These are already going to be set up and configured, okay, for our digital inputs. So let's go to our communication part. And here, for example, I already selected that we enable our address direction for our Ethernet address, IP, through our parameters. And then it seems that I entered these data. Okay, 168.100.2. And our submask, which is where we're going to see if anyone or someone is telling the truth. Okay, for our mask with 255.0. And that's how it was done. And then I ran a power cycle for my drive. And as you can see, here it is. Now, what else? We have our logic part, which we're not really going to mess with this. So our advanced screen, our advanced program screen, our fault diagnostics, our conveyor part. Well, these are for applications or apps. And this would be it. Now, what other parameters do we have? Here we have the same ones for our data log, which are 731 parameters. Okay? Here, it's moving us down to our packets, our packages which were received and transmitted in real time. Okay, which means that I am connected through my velocities, which is 100 megabytes per second. We're in full duplex. We can have many characteristics, but I recommend that you guys download the CCW software. That way you can analyze together with me, because I logically have my physical drive, but you guys can start doing this in simulations. Okay? So it's all of this that we have here on our CCW part. any faults and alarms. We basically have very few faults. Generally, we have undervoltage, which is when our drive shuts off. Well, that's actually low voltage. Yep, undervoltage. Or probably because it was connected through 120 volts, and that's where we got this alarm. Okay, so these are the faults, and this is where we can clean it up. So we can clean up all the faults and restart. What else? More device information. Serial number. We also have our firmware version. And we also have a little bit more characteristics in case we want to go into detail. For example, our control card, what the numbers are that they're asking us for, etc. We also have here our startup wizard. What is this for? This is to be able to set up our drive in a very effective and quick way. So we're going to start reviewing this, and finally our IP address. Okay? Now, wizards. We're going to look into this wizards option, and I'm going to tell you on our next video. See you on the next one, guys.